I love building a fire. It keeps the house so toasty. I'm going to show you right now how I use wire as a core for making hardcore yarn. So let me get past all the fiber madness. Okay, my name is Megan Burkhart, and I'm making a video to show you how I spin wire core yarn and how, first of all, how I prepare to spin it. So I hope you enjoy, and let me sit down, show you how I start. Okay, here's my fancy tools. I like fancy tools. You start with 3 toilet paper rolls, or you can probably cut 1 paper towel roll in thirds. You have one that you don't cut at all, and you cut the other 2 down the side, like that. And I'll show you why we use those in a minute. You also, it's helpful if you have a nitty knotty, so you can measure out how long your core is going to be. For this, I'm going to measure out 5 yards of wire, because I know that that's about how much I want to make a bangle bracelet, which I think is a really good use for these, but that's not the only use. You can use it for, any kind of sculptural art you want to make. You can embellish, you can use it for other jewelry, just find lots of purpose for it, because it's moldable, so you just make it whatever shape. So I'm going to quickly measure out 5 yards of this wire. This is 26 gauge florist wire. It's just, plain and simple. Sometimes I like to use a bigger gauge, but the bigger your gauge is, the sturdier, kind of tougher wheel you have to have. I have an Ashford Country spinner that I like to spin my wire core yarn on. The thicker the gauge, obviously, the sturdier your finished piece is going to be, but it's also really hard to get it to intake into like a smaller wheel, like my Sidekick, my shacked wheel. It's really hard to get the wire to feed in there. But then if you use a finer wire, it'll feed in better, but it's easier to break then. So, and it's not quite as sturdy when you mold it. So it's kind of a toss-up. You decide what's best for you. This is a 26 gauge. I find that works pretty well for me. Okay, I'm going to drop the nitty knotty on the floor, and with the uncut toilet paper roll, I kind of tore a little slit in the side. I'm just going to put that in there so it stops it from going anywhere. Actually, first I want to put some beads on, because I love adding beads as I spin. So I have this little container of these glass beads, so I'm just going to pick out a few really quickly if I can. I'm just going to use maybe, I don't know, 12 or 14 beads. It depends how full of beads you want your wire yarn. So let's see, I've got 5 on there. And I like to, a lot of times I'll pick specific beads at the store to go with, some top I have or an art bat that I've carded. So just kind of picking them randomly, kind of a rainbow, because actually I don't know what top I'm using right now, but it helps if you like to plan ahead. You can match the beads and top first. Don't know if I mentioned it yet, but my farm name is Little Patch Alpacas. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Etsy. My shop name on Etsy is Pack-A-Patch25. And I also have a website that I'm not quite finished with yet, called littlepatchalpacas.com. So check me out on the internet. I raise alpacas, and other animals too, but I just love to use, you know, what they produce, their wool and things. So, okay, so I've got, you know, a random number of beads strung on the wire. So now I'm gonna put the tip into this slit that I made on the toilet paper roll that's not cut. And then I'm gonna just start winding it around. I know I have 5 yards to work with, so I'm gonna try to evenly space these beads. And you'll see why in a minute. Brock. Hi. And I'm putting this, bye Brock. I'm putting this on the toilet paper roll to keep it kind of from just getting all tangled up and maybe snapping while I'm spinning it. It really works very well. I don't know what everybody else does when they spin wire yarn, but this has been pretty awesome. So I might start listing some wire yarn kits in my shop pretty soon, but I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. I know my friend Rue Klein of Moonwood Farm, she has wire yarn kits. So if you want to buy a kit, that's one place you can find one. I'm almost done wrapping this. I'm sorry I kind of got off camera there for a while, but you can see I'm kind of spacing out the beads, so when I use the wire, they'll, you know, be kind of coming when I need them. Okay, 2 more beads. Here we go. I'm going to use the other end of this, so I'm just going to leave that hanging up. I'm going to put the first cut TP roll around it. And I forgot to tell you, I also, you will need 2 rubber bands. I really like the hairband kind because they're really strong. But after you place the first one around, then you put the second one around the opposite direction. This just helps to keep everything in place, and I already lost it, so let me show you how to fix this, because that's not supposed to happen yet. Okay, so you kind of want to wrap it on tightly so that it doesn't do that as much, but then when you get to the end, you can fold it into a slit on the other end just to keep it in place while you secure it with the toilet paper rolls. Okay, so you wrap these around, and then you will put your rubber bands on to hold it together. So then your wire isn't flying everywhere when you're spinning. And now this should, you know, just come out pretty slowly while I spin. All right, I'm going to set this aside for a second because you also need fiber, obviously, if you're going to make, you know, yarn. So what am I going to use? Let's see. I'm going to use some top called Nuclear Candy. This is really beautiful stuff. It's by where did I buy this? I got this from, shoot, I will think of it. And she's an amazing fiber artist. It's let's see, Gypsies. I will find it and I will post that with this video because she's a really super nice person and she makes awesome stuff. Okay, so I've got my gorgeous top. This is like Seacell Merino blend, I think. And I know there's another fiber in here. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, you have to start with a wire leader. So I actually have wire yarn that I made yesterday on here. See, it's kind of sturdy. There's a bead there. So if you don't have a piece of wire on your wheel already, you need to connect one to your bobbin and then feed it through the orifice, because if you just have a yarn leader, then it won't make the wire spin. it won't make it twist, and it'll be really frustrating, and then your wire will snap or you'll lose it. So I just kind of bend the wires together in the beginning. I'm sure there's a better way to do that, but this is what I do. Okay, so I spin it clockwise, just like, you know, normal. And if you've core spun before, this is you know, core spinning just with a wire core. So you just I kind of press the fibers on until they really start grabbing onto the wire, which is pretty simple. So there you go. And you can make it thicker. You know, you just add more fiber on it at a time. And you can make it fluffy or you can make it super smooth. Just depends what you're going for. So I'm going to move my fiber out of the way. And I want to let this hang kind of freely because then it can twist with the wheel twisting it, so it won't snap on me. It won't break. See? And if it won't take it in at first, just, you know, manually feed it in until it gets past the joint that you made or the beads that are making it stick or whatever. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add a bead now. And I just kind of anchor it on one side with wrapping the fiber around, and then I try to make it fairly thin bunch of fiber, but it kind of wraps around the bead on one side, and then you kind of anchor it again on the other side. Really don't want that bead to be sliding around and showing the wire, and that bead is not going anywhere because it's really tightly wrapped on either side, and it's around it on one side. If you cut the fiber and you didn't actually have it wrapping around the bead, then it would slide everywhere. So that's what I've found anyway when I've been doing it. Oh my gosh, I love this pink fiber. It's gorgeous. I'm gonna need to dye some fiber these colors because it's got kind of an orange and a hot pink and darker in some places. It's even got a little brown in it. It's just beautiful.